She texted, "I can't do this anymore." Then I found her packing a suitcase for his place. I don't even know how I made it home that night. The world felt blurry, like I was walking through a dream I couldn't wake up from. The message had come in while I was at work. "I can't do this anymore." 3 simple words that shattered everything. I stared at the screen for a full minute, not knowing what to think, not knowing what to do. Was it a breakup? Was it a fight? Was she done with us? It had been a tough few weeks, sure. Work had been draining. We'd been arguing more than usual, but it didn't feel like this. It didn't feel like an ending. At least, not one that came so suddenly, so out of nowhere. We talked about our future just a few days ago. How we were going to go on that trip we'd been planning. How we'd finally start looking for a house in the spring. She had said she was excited, that she was looking forward to it all. But now, just like that, it felt like all of it was gone. Like she'd just erased it all in a single text message. I tried calling her immediately, but she didn't pick up. I left a voicemail, and then I texted her back. "What do you mean? Please talk to me." "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." I sent another message. "Please don't leave. We can fix this. We can work through it." I stared at my phone, waiting for a reply that never came. When I finally pulled into our driveway and stepped inside the house, I thought maybe I had misunderstood. Maybe there had been some mistake. Maybe she just needed time to think, and I could talk to her, make her see reason. But as soon as I opened the door, I heard the sound of her suitcase being zipped up. It was the unmistakable sound of finality, the click of the zipper sealing something away forever. I stood frozen in the doorway, my heart pounding. She was there, standing in the middle of the living room, packing clothes into her suitcase with a focused determination I had never seen before. It wasn't just a few things she was grabbing either. She was packing like she was leaving for good. I cleared my throat, trying to make my voice sound steady. "What are you doing?" The words felt foreign coming out of my mouth. How is this even happening? She didn't look up, didn't even flinch. Her movements were deliberate, as if she had rehearsed them in her head 100 times. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to it. "I'm leaving." I took a step forward, feeling the floor beneath me shift, like I was walking on shaky ground. "What? Leaving? Where are you going?" Her hand paused over the suitcase, and for a second, I thought she might break down. I thought she might finally say something, anything, that would make sense of this madness. But when she looked up, there was no emotion in her eyes, just the same cold, distant look that had started creeping in over the last few months. "I'm going to his place," she said. I blinked, the words crashing into me like a wave. "His place," I repeated, barely able to comprehend what she was saying. "Who is he?" My voice was almost a whisper. Was she talking about that guy from work? The one I'd caught her texting a few times, but had brushed off as harmless? Or is there someone else I didn't know about? She paused, like she was considering whether or not to explain further. "His name's Nick. I met him a while ago. I didn't plan this, Jake, but I'm not happy anymore. I haven't been for a while." Her voice faltered at the end, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw guilt flash across her face, but it was gone in an instant. I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what to say. How had we gone from talking about our future just a few days ago to this? How was this happening? I couldn't process the fact that she had already found someone else, someone she was willing to leave me for. It was like I'd been blind, walking around in a fog, completely unaware that she had checked out long before the text had come. I took a few shaky steps toward her, my mind spinning with 1,000 questions. "You've been seeing him? All this time? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you just—" "I didn't want to hurt you." She cut me off, her eyes avoiding mine. I didn't know how to explain it, but I can't keep living like this. You deserve someone who can give you what you need, and I'm just not that person anymore. I could feel the weight of her words, each one sinking into me deeper and deeper. She didn't love me anymore. She hadn't loved me for a long time. It wasn't just about Nick. It was about everything. About us. About how we had drifted apart, and I had been too blind to see it. I thought we could work through it. I thought we could fix things, but she had already given up. I wanted to scream. I wanted to beg her to stay, to take it back, to say it was all a mistake. But I knew, deep down, that I was only clinging to the idea of us. Because the truth was, she had already made up her mind. She had already moved on. "Please don't do this," I whispered, my voice breaking. "Please don't go." She looked at me, then really looked at me. Her face softened for just a second, but she quickly composed herself. "I'm sorry, Jake. I truly am. I never wanted to hurt you. But this is what's best for both of us. I need to go." And just like that, she zipped up her suitcase and lifted it from the floor. My knees felt weak, and for a moment, I thought I might collapse. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. We were supposed to be better than this. But I was too late. She walked past me, not even looking back. The front door clicked shut behind her with a finality I couldn't ignore. I stood there for a long time, staring at the door she had just walked through. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I was left alone in our apartment, which felt more like a stranger's home than my own. All the pictures on the walls, the couch we used to cuddle on, the kitchen where we'd spent countless evenings cooking together. It all seemed so empty now. I could still hear the sound of her suitcase wheels rolling out of the door, her footsteps fading in the hallway. I don't know how long I stood there, unmoving, my thoughts tangled in 1,000 different directions. My whole life with her had just unraveled. I didn't even know how to begin picking up the pieces. But one thing was clear: she was gone. And no amount of pleading, no amount of trying to make sense of it, would ever bring her back. Part 2. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? The silence in our apartment felt deafening. I kept hearing the click of the door behind her, the sound of her suitcase wheels rolling away, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face as she walked out. The same face I'd kissed goodnight so many times. The face I thought I knew better than my own. I barely touched my dinner, too numb to eat. My phone buzzed a few times, but I ignored it. I didn't want to talk to anyone. My mind was too busy replaying the last few hours, each moment more surreal than the last. I couldn't understand it. One minute, we were planning our future, and the next, she was packing for someone else's place. Nick, whoever he was. I had no idea what kind of relationship they had, or how long it had been going on. My mind kept spinning in circles, each thought more painful than the last. I thought back to our conversations, everything she'd said in the weeks leading up to this. I remembered how she'd seemed distant at times, but I chalked it up to the stress at work or the usual ups and downs of life. We'd always managed to talk things out before, hadn't we? Had I really been that blind? Had we really been that far apart for so long, and I didn't even see it? The more I thought about it, the more confused I became. How could I not have seen the signs? How did I not know that she was falling out of love with me? We'd spent 6 years together. 6 years of memories, laughter, love, and intimacy. Now, it all felt like a joke, like a story I wasn't a part of. I thought about calling her, begging her to come back, to explain herself. But what good would that do? She had already made her decision. She was already on her way to his place. And I was left here, shattered, trying to pick up the pieces of a relationship I wasn't even sure was real anymore. The next day, I didn't go to work. I couldn't. I called in sick, but the truth was I was sick. Sick to my stomach. Sick with anger. Sick with confusion. I tried to focus on something, anything to distract myself, but my mind wouldn't stop. I couldn't stop thinking about Clara, about Nick, about the way she'd looked at me when she said she was leaving. There was no trace of guilt in her eyes. It was like she had already moved on, emotionally and mentally, long before that suitcase hit the floor. I spent hours sitting on the couch, scrolling through her Instagram, her photos, trying to figure out when everything had started to fall apart. There were photos of her with her friends, laughing, living her life, and somewhere in between, there was Nick. Casual pictures at coffee shops, little comments here and there. I couldn't help but wonder how long they had been seeing each other. Had she really been unhappy all this time? Or was she just looking for an excuse to leave? I wanted to reach out to him, to confront him, but what good would that do? It wasn't his fault, not really. Clara had made her choices. I couldn't blame him for something that was so clearly between her and me. But the jealousy, God, the jealousy was eating me alive. What did he have that I didn't? What made him the one she wanted when she couldn't seem to see me anymore? By the afternoon, I knew I couldn't stay home any longer. I needed to get out of the house, clear my head. So I grabbed my jacket and went for a walk. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I needed to breathe, to try and figure out what the hell I was supposed to do now. I ended up at a park, sitting on a bench, watching families walk by, kids playing, couples holding hands. The scene was painfully normal, so different from the chaos in my mind. It felt like everyone else was living their lives, moving forward, while I was stuck in this endless loop of pain and confusion. That's when I got a text from Clara. "Can we talk?" I stared at it, unsure of how to respond. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her everything I was feeling, but I didn't. Instead, I typed out a reply. "What do you want to talk about?" It didn't take long for her to reply. "I'm sorry for everything. I know this is hard. Can we meet?" I wanted to say no. I wanted to block her out, to pretend like I was fine, like I didn't care. But I did care. I cared more than anything. And deep down, I knew I needed closure. I needed to hear her say it all to my face, even if it hurt. I agreed to meet her. We decided on a coffee shop nearby, a place we used to go to after long days at work. I didn't know if I was ready to see her again, but I couldn't avoid it forever. When I walked into the cafe, she was already there, sitting at a table by the window. She looked different, distant, as though she were a stranger to me. She wasn't the woman I'd shared so many memories with. She wasn't the woman who once held my hand and told me she'd always be there. I could see it now, the way she held herself, closed off, arms crossed, eyes not meeting mine. It was as if the woman I had known had already left a long time ago. I sat down across from her, and for a long time, neither of us said anything. The silence between us felt heavy, suffocating. Finally, she spoke. "I don't even know how to start," she said, her voice quiet, unsure. "Jake, You don't have to say anything," I interrupted, my voice sharper than I intended. "You've already said enough." She flinched, and I instantly regretted it, but it was too late. I had already been holding this in for too long. "I'm sorry, Jake," she whispered, looking up at me. "I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. I never meant for it to go this far, but I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep pretending." "Pretending?" I said, my voice thick with emotion. "Pretending what?" "That we were okay? That everything was fine? Clara, we were supposed to be okay. You were supposed to be my partner, my best friend. And now you're telling me you couldn't even be honest with me?" "I didn't know how," she said, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to hurt you, Jake. I thought I could just change it, fix it, but I couldn't. I kept hoping it would get better, that things would go back to how they were, but they didn't. And then I met Nick. And it just made sense in a way that nothing with us had for a while." My heart cracked, the pain settling deep in my chest. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. This wasn't the woman I had known. This wasn't the woman I had loved. "I don't know what to say, Clara," I said, my voice hoarse. "I don't think I can forgive you. Not for this. Not for leaving me like this." She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I never wanted to cause you this much pain." I didn't know what to say after that. The words felt like they were stuck in my throat, and nothing seemed right. Nothing could fix this. The trust had been shattered, and no apology could ever take away the hurt. I looked at her one last time, this stranger sitting across from me, the woman who had once been my whole world, and knew that the person I loved was gone. She stood up, and I didn't try to stop her. I didn't have the strength to. "I hope you find happiness, Jake," she said quietly, before turning and walking away. And I sat there alone for the second time that day, knowing that life had just changed in ways I couldn't even begin to understand.